Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show and the Julie Hartman YouTube channel in general. Those of you who are familiar with me know that I'm 24 years old and I recently graduated from college. I graduated about a year and a half ago in May of 2022. And when I graduated from college, I made a decision that I think, at the risk of sounding self-aggrandizing or braggadocious, was one of the wisest decisions I've ever made in my entire life. And that was that I deleted my personal social media account. Now, obviously, I have a professional social media account, which I'm actually going to be talking about in this episode today. But I want to spend some time today talking to you about why I made that decision to delete my personal social media and why it has been so good for me. I feel a huge obligation and a huge desire to spread this secret that I have uncovered. And that is that life is so much better, healthier, happier, just improved in every single way possible when you get rid of that stuff. So we're going to be diving into all of that today. I'm Julie Hartman, and this is Timeless. Hey everyone, and welcome to Timeless. It's great, as always, to be with you. As you know, you can watch this show on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on this channel, and you can actually also catch my show with Dennis Prager called Dennis and Julie every Monday on this channel. Every week is a good week to watch Dennis and Julie, but I think especially this week is a good week because we talked a bit about some of the themes that we're going to be discussing in this episode today. That is buying into life. I think that is so important for us to consider. And social media is one of those forces which I think really more than anything else takes us away from the great experience of living life. So yes, indeed, we are talking about this all today, why I got off of social media and why I really, really think that you should too. I'm going to structure this episode by kind of taking you through my personal story, my process, some of the things that I noticed, and then hopefully giving some helpful tips for you if you're interested in doing this. Even if you're not gung-ho about totally wanting to just delete it, I think there are some really good tips on how to just reduce your time and hopefully endeavor to have a healthier relationship with social media. You know, also, what's interesting to contemplate is that we are so early on in this social media experiment. YouTube was founded, I believe, in 2004, and then Facebook was around 2005, 2006. Twitter was also around 2005, 2006. And then Instagram, of course, was in 2010. And I remember that so well because all of my friends were getting this thing called Instagram and were posting on it incessantly as I was growing up. And actually, the reason why I wanted to get a social media and Instagram specifically is because I was at soccer practice one day and I met David Beckham. David Beckham was at the soccer field because his son happened to play on one of the nearby fields where I was playing. And I got a picture with him and I was so excited to show that to all of my friends that I begged my dad to let me get an Instagram. Pretty apt, right? That the reason I wanted to get a social media was to post something to brag to all of my friends about something that I had experienced. But the point is, especially if you're me and you're 24 years old, you're born in 1999, we are so early on in this experiment with what it's doing to us and to our minds. It's not like this has been, tested over many decades of human history and people have figured out how to best handle it and incorporate it into their lives. We're the guinea pigs, and we have got to remember that and realize that there's no manual, there's no handbook on how to handle such a thing like this. And I think that is one of the biggest insights that I've had that has really contributed to my huge crusade to get the hell off of this stuff. So let me take you back to May of 2022 when I was graduating from college and this whole process started. When I was graduating, I had made two really big life decisions that honestly scared the heck out of me. The first one was that I was moving to Los Angeles, California, And the second one was that I decided to take a job in conservative talk media at a time when, as we all know, conservative talk media is up and coming, but being conservative is certainly not something that is in vogue or widely accepted. And also, I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to very liberal schools, elementary school, high school, obviously went to a very liberal college, as we all know about the news surrounding Harvard right now. And so those two decisions were really scary for me. Because the first one, moving to Los Angeles, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? All of my best friends are moving to New York. I'm the Lone Ranger moving out to LA. I'm going to miss them. Am I going to lose them as friends? Are they going to forget about me? Am I wasting my 20s by prioritizing my career over my social life? Should I be in New York partying with all of my college friends and having, the quintessential in your 20s New York experience? So I was really worried about that. And then I was also really worried about my job. And frankly, how I would be perceived. I was really afraid that a lot of people, especially from my past, were going to hate me. I would lie awake at night and I would think about old high school teachers that I had, or old people that, used to be in my life who I really liked and I really respected. And I would go, oh my gosh, do they think I'm a bigot? Do they think I'm a horrible person? There's so much misinformation about conservatives. What if they hate Dennis Prager? I'm doing a show with one of the most prominent and indeed controversial conservative talk figures in the country. Oh my God, what are they going to think about me? Are they going to hate me? And so as I was juggling those two fears, fear of missing out and fear of being hated, I realized that the single biggest thing that exacerbated both of those fears was social media. Why? Because you go on social media and you see all your friends hanging out without you. And also you go on social media and you're reminded of all of these people from your life. And obviously in some ways that can be good. I'm not 100%, hating anti-social media. Maybe I'm 99% there, but I'm not 100% of the way there. Obviously it can be, a great way to stay in touch with people. It can be a force for good. But one of the really, I think, bad things about the way that my generation specifically uses social media is that you kind of collect people over the course of your life that you really don't care about. And in some cases, you may not even like. Like, you follow people who you went to elementary school with. I know that I, follow people who I used to play sports with when I was younger. Not that I dislike all of those people, but just like, these are individuals who are not in my life at all, who I haven't seen in years. And you go on Instagram and you're scrolling through and you're looking at this girl who you interacted with like 3 times, going out to coffee with one of her friends. And it's just like, why? Why are you doing that? And I realized that what social media kind of facilitates is that it makes you feel further away from your friends, but it makes you feel closer to your enemies. Because those people who you follow, who maybe you don't like or you don't respect, or in my case, I know would disapprove of what I'm doing in my job, it makes it seem like they have more presence in your life than they actually do. When people talk about social media, they focus so much on the drain that it has when you see people who you do like post. But I think it's actually a way bigger drain to see people who you don't like post. So that was the main thing. Honestly, it was selfish reasons for me. I didn't want to be miserable. I didn't want to not be confident in my job. And I realized that that was the biggest impediment towards my being a happy, healthy, professionally and otherwise person. And let me tell you, it has made all of the difference in the world. I could not live in this city and do this job if I still had my old personal social media account. Isn't that amazing, by the way, that this app has such outsized influence and power over you in your life? That's a pretty big statement that I just made, that I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I still had that app. And I was someone who had a pretty good relationship with social media, certainly compared to other people, but it just... you get my whole crusade. It is, I think, harmful in so many ways. So that's where I was in May of 2022, my kind of personal decisions that led me to get rid of it. There was another supplementary choice that I made in addition to the whole job and conservative talk show host thing. And that is that I view everything that I'm doing right now in my life at 24 years old as an investment in my future. Obviously, at any time in your life, whatever you're doing is an investment in your future. But I'm keenly aware that I'm young and my brain isn't fully formed yet. And I can use this time in my life. And it's really cool, actually. It's very empowering to have this mindset. I can use this time in my life to mold myself into the person that I want to be. And I look around at life and I see that this is a theme that a lot of people have. You know, we have so many people out there on social media, ironically, or writing self-help books about how you can, enact your beast mode and how you can be the best possible version of yourself. And I look around and I see a lot of my old peers doing this. They make great investments in themselves. I see a lot of my friends are very determined to save and invest money. That's the way that they're investing in their future. A lot of my friends are taking the GMAT. They're taking the LSAT. They're applying to law schools because they see that as an investment in their future. Hey, I live in Los Angeles. I see all these people who are going to the gym 2 times a day, who are drinking kombucha, who are doing their cold plunges because they want to have, a ripped, great body when they're older. We look at all of these forces around us where people are investing in their futures, but they are the same people who spend all day going like this. And they don't see that as, and by the way, if you're listening, I was scrolling on my, fake scrolling on my phone because I would not have Instagram up on my phone if I were doing a show on social media. But the point is, we seem to be so determined to invest in ourselves in many different ways, but we don't have the wherewithal to acknowledge that if we really wanted to go forth ahead and invest in ourselves in all of the best ways, the first thing that we would do is get rid of those apps because they are a time drain and they make you slow. They make you dumber. They make you insecure. They make you conformist. And so I viewed this as investing in myself later. And let me tell you, mark my words right now, I think there's going to be a backlash to this. It may not be for another 5, 10, 20 years, but I really think there will come a time in life where people will wake up and they will go, oh my God, why in the world did we do that? How many months of our lives did we spend looking at these devices? You know what a piece of evidence I have for this backlash? Because you see it a lot. There are a lot of, not just in the technological realm, but all throughout life, you see that life kind of has a pendulum swing. We're certainly seeing that politically right now, where since October 7th, for instance, a lot of people, I think, are coming around to conservatism and some of the things that conservatives have been warning against with regard to free speech and DEI. So we see that backlashes happen all the time. But a big piece of evidence for my hypothesis that there will be a social media backlash is that all of my friends, we are so determined to not raise our kids with phones. Isn't that interesting? Like whenever I ask my friends, how do you want to raise your kids? What are some things that you would do differently or you would do the same as your parents? I am telling you a unanimous thing that I hear across the board, including and especially from people who use social media the most, is that they don't want their kids to have it. So we recognize that this is something bad and this is something that we don't want to perpetuate for the next generation. But then I think a lot of us maybe feel like our ship has sailed and that it's just too late for us to really make the change ourselves. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the face of Sean McConnell. He is a dear producer here on this show, but I want to bring him in for a minute. Can you do the clap sound? I give you permission to do the cheer for yourself audio. I don't know if you can do it, but Sean is 48, I think, years old. Hopefully I didn't overstep by telling everybody his age. And I'm curious to know, because I grew up with this when I was, as I said, when I was 10, and I wanted to tell everybody about David Beckham. You got this when you were in your 20s or your 30s. How do you feel like your generation reacted to this? Do you feel like it's healthy or not so healthy?
Well, first of all, have you ever heard of MySpace?
Yes, but I have no idea what it is, honestly.
I think everyone invested their time into MySpace before Facebook.
Really?
And then it disappeared. And
what is MySpace?
Exactly. See? You don't know who Tom is?
Who the hell is Tom?
Yeah, see? See, MySpace was the precursor to Facebook. Everyone was on MySpace. It was the first rage. Anyways, I think my generation is a generation that grew up without social media, and social media took a foothold in our lives. I think I was in college. But your generation, you don't know what it's like to live without it.
No, we don't.
That's I can't understand that.
See, I even see this with my parents. Like, my mom has a social media account, and I see a lot of my friends' moms have it. And by the way, not my mom. I can't say that about my mom because she's watching. But actually, in real life, she's not like this. But a lot of her friends, I see in their own way, are kind of becoming addicted to it. And I think this is probably more prevalent among women than it is among men. Not to knock women, but it's just true. But even the ladies in their 50s and in their 60s who are getting this and they love it, they are not as addicted to it as we are. And their habits on it are not the same as the habits of people my age. Like, they just mainly post pictures of their kids. Sometimes they'll post pictures of their vacations. But, like, I've never seen a 50 or 60-year-old mom or dad, for that matter, like, post a picture of their latte. But that's what we do. We post pictures of the most, like, mundane, minutia things. But seriously, I think that's a significant difference.
You're right. There are definite wonderful things about social media that I wish we could throw away the bad and only keep the good, like staying in contact with family. And especially the generation you're talking about with grandkids. It's a great way to stay connected. And that's the beautiful side of the internet. But to go back to what you said almost at the beginning of the episode, this was unleashed on humanity with no forethought about what repercussions it may have on us collectively or individually psychologically. We don't know the ramifications of it. But I think you're standing up and you're saying, hey, it's not okay to scroll your life away.
Right.
This is a giant time suck. And it was designed that way. These apps were designed that way to keep you coming back and to keep you clicking and to keep you interested in whatever that person you met for 5 minutes had for breakfast this morning. It's nutty. It's completely crazy. Also, I think there's another aspect you haven't talked about, and that it is more designed for the extrovert than the introvert. So I don't know what it's like to be an extrovert. So I don't want to completely poo-poo on social media.
Really? You don't know what it's like to be an extrovert?
I don't. I know people say that to me. They say I'm extroverted, but I think I've become more introverted as I age. I don't want to know. I don't know. I told you, the only downside to me getting off of social media, which is something I did before you did, because I saw the same unhealthy habits in my life of caring about things that I don't need to care about, is that I don't know when people's birthdays are. It makes me a bad friend.
I'm going to talk about that in a few moments because one of the things that I was really concerned about when I got off of social media was like, I'm going to lose friends, or I'm not going to be as in close touch with my friends, and I'm going to miss their birthdays. And I'll give you a sneak peek of what I'm going to say, which is that it actually makes you a better friend and a better person because you have to write down your friends' birthdays. So right now what I have is I literally have like a notebook and I write down all of their birthdays, and it helps you commit them to memory. Anyway, I literally could go on and on, as I will do, about all of the benefits of social media. But I think what Sean said, though, about how these apps are designed to lure you in and to make you addicted is really important. I don't know if it started out that way. I think when these apps were founded, maybe I'm being too kind to the founders. Maybe they have worse intentions than I would like to think. But I think someone like Steve Jobs, for instance, really wanted to create something that advanced the human existence. I remember there was a quote that he had when he launched the iPhone, which obviously isn't social media, but it is the biggest facilitator of social media apps. And he said that he wanted this to be like a bicycle, because what does a bicycle do? It gets you to your destination faster. And that's the really sad thing, that all of these resources at our disposal, including social media, have enormous potential to make us better. Even look at something like Substack. We just had Spencer Clavin on the show. We do the weekly Thinker of the Month series, the monthly Thinker of the Month series. And Spencer Clavin just launched a Substack with his brilliant father, Andrew Clavin. I mean, there are so many people on the internet who are extremely talented, who can kind of break into this sphere and get noticed and share their thoughts in a way that old media would never allow you to do. And so what we should really do when we use these apps is remember the opportunity that it presents us with, but we have to be so careful to not succumb to the dangers. And that's the problem. I think these apps started out idealistically, and then many of these people saw them as an opportunity to make money. The more clicks, the more downloads, the more screen time, the more that they could sell to advertisers. And then I think they really wanted you to get addicted to it. And they started funneling the crap at you instead of helping make those apps be an environment where you can actually flourish and grow your brain as a human being. On Dennis and Julie, I often remark that it is one of the most hilarious paradoxes of the modern era that we have the most unprecedented access to information and to great works of art and literature and music, and yet we are the generation and are the people who are the least interested in seeking that out. And I think, again, it's because these apps have now been reconfigured in a way to funnel sludge at you. I even remember when I was like 12 or 13, Instagram looked so different than it does now. They didn't have videos, for instance. You could only post one photo. The Explore page wasn't really so much dependent on algorithms as it was by things that were posted chronologically. You wouldn't get as much in your feed that were like big celebrities. You certainly wouldn't get the kind of videos that we see now of like people playing with silly putty. I go on my professional social media account and I literally see these videos of people playing with silly putty or people like mixing brownie batter to make brownies. And now you have these things in front of you which are mesmerizing, but they're deadening. And so I think you're right, Sean, that's kind of
I think you're 100%. I don't think there was anything sinister or nefarious about the creation of these apps.
Right.
They were created with good intentions, but like anything else that involves humans and greed, it becomes corrupt.
Totally.
And now likes and subscribes and followers are a form of currency.
Totally. I remember when I was young, when I was in 7th grade, there was a girl in my class, one of my best friends, still to this day, and she is a really good artist, and she launched this lyrics account where she would take pieces of paper and, take a Taylor Swift song, for instance, and she'd draw the lyrics in this beautiful calligraphy, and she'd like color it with all of these different markers, and she'd put glitter on it, and it would be so cool. And she would post them on Instagram when we were in 7th grade. And I remember we were all so excited and genuinely blown away when she reached 1,000 followers. Like, I remember she came to school that day. It was a few months after she launched her account. And by the way, it didn't happen in a minute. It happened, as I just said, a few months after she launched her account. And she showed up to school. She hit 1,000, and I remember thinking she was a celebrity. I was like, oh my God, I'm literally best friends with a celebrity. She has 1,000 followers on Instagram. Who has that? And so it's sad because, we lose sight of how remarkable it is. Even if you have, in the case of me, I have 7,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel?
About 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot more than 7,000. Very, very important to be precise. But, a lot of people would, and by the way, myself included, would consider that to be a small YouTube channel. Before we continue, I want to quickly tell you about MyPillow. I use a lot of MyPillow products. I wouldn't advertise them if I didn't use their products. I walk into work wearing my slippers and then I change into my on-air shoes. I sleep on my pillows and I use my towels, and you can get a lot of these products at a discount if you use the promo code Hartman, which is my last name spelled Hartman, or you can call 1-800-566-6745 and use the promo code Hartman. So MyPillow is known for the pillows, but MyPillow didn't stop at the pillow. They also created the Giza Dream bed sheets, which look and feel great. I sleep on them, which is so helpful for getting a better night's sleep. Those of you who know me know that I suffer from terrible insomnia, so it's always good to have a good sleeping situation. Mike found the world's best cotton called Giza. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. Mike's Giza sheets come with a 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. The Giza Dream sheets come in a variety of sizes and colors. Mike's latest deal is the sale of the year. For a limited time, you'll get 50% off of the Giza Dream sheets, and you'll get a set for as low as $29.98. Just go to mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square and use the promo code Hartman. There you'll get not only this great offer, but also deep discounts on all MyPillow products, including the MyPillow 2.0 mattress topper, MyPillow kitchen towel sets, and now even flannel sheets, and so much more. Call 1-800-566-6745 and use the promo code Hartman, or go to mypillow.com and make sure you use the promo code Hartman. But sometimes you just got to take a step back and go, wait a minute, 7,000 people subscribe to my YouTube channel. Put 7,000 people in a room. You can't. Try to put them in a much bigger room. You still can't. That's a lot of people. And so this social media world has given us these false expectations. Yeah, we talk a lot about that with, body image. Obviously, we see the Victoria's Secret models and we're reminded of our blubber on our bodies. Yeah, those are some of the false expectations. But even like the numbers thing is another big one. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that I noticed on social media that were really instrumental in helping me quit it. Again, a lot of it was my own personal decisions, what I was going through in my personal life that I knew would be made worse if I had social media. A lot of it was the investment mindset. But I also just saw things, in addition to the time suck, that really kind of scared me and really made me go, this is not the person that I want to be, and this is not a kind of way of living life that I want to support. And the biggest one is that I noticed that people were insanely conformist, where almost every Instagram account that I saw, people kind of made themselves into a personal brand. And even think about the way that Instagram, for instance, is set up. You have a profile picture, you have a username, you have a bio. The bio can only be a certain number of characters. And it kind of like encourages you and incentivizes you to market yourself, to brand yourself. What's my profile picture going to be? Is it going to be, a sultry pose of me? Is it going to be a business professional photo? Is it going to be a photo of a sunset? And you really think about, what's the vibe that I'm trying to give off as a human being? Am I trying to give off the vibe that I'm a hot girl, or that I'm a professional girl, or I'm a contemplative girl? People think about that too with their titles or their usernames on their social media account, their bios. I know so many people who spend crazy amounts of time trying to figure out what a cool Instagram bio is, like something that will set them apart and reveal something cool about their personality. And it's just like, you're so desperately trying to trumpet who you are instead of actually figuring out who you are and making yourself into the person that you want to be. And so I remember that, and I've even seen this now, that there are different kind of phases that Instagram went through, things that were particularly in vogue, like ways to make your Instagram account. And I just looked around and watched all of these people, and myself, by the way, I'm not wagging the finger, myself too, succumbing to this. Like any any teenage girl who was a teenager in the 2010s, as I was, knows exactly what I'm talking about here. There was a trend at the beginning of Instagram where it was really cool to make your Instagram look perfect. Like you had these photos with white borders or certain filters on them. And it was really cool to like have your photos be highly edited and highly stylized to the point of perfection. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like the Instagram phases were sort of like art phases. I've done a lot of art shows here on Timeless. Like it started out like perfect, just as great art in the classical period started out as like you want to paint something that is a very realistic representation of people and that shows great form and great style and great color. And then, as with art and as with social media, it moved into a more lackadaisical period where you didn't need the white borders, you didn't need the filters, you didn't need to care so much about your flow, and you could kind of like post whatever you wanted. The art analogy is like the Impressionist era, where like there were still some things that looked a little perfect, that look a little realistic, but they were dialed down. And then now, again, as with art and with social media, we're in the modern era where it's literally just, I think, all crap. You know how I feel about modern paintings. You just splat pieces of, paint on a canvas and it's deemed to be like the most profound highbrow thing in the world. That's kind of what's going on now with social media, where it's a trend to act like you don't care and to post things that are seen as like really casual and cool. But the funny thing is you're trying so hard to act like you don't care that you actually, what it actually indicates is that you care so much. And I see people who literally post photos of like their shoes and socks. Like they'll take off their shoes, they'll throw their dirty socks, and then they'll like write a caption, something quirky. Like people, another thing, people like write captions that have to do a lot with like human body functions. Like they'll be like, my shoes stink. Or like I saw one on Instagram the other day, someone posted a picture of like dog poop, literally dog poop in front of their house. And there's this weird, again, like with modern art, this weird like fascination with the scatological. And it's trying so desperately to show, I'm fun, I'm quirky, I'm cool. I don't need to post a perfect photo on my Instagram. I see life differently. I see an art form in the poop that was defecated on my front lawn, and I'm gonna post that to show how I see life differently. It's like, you are a fraud. Like you are literally a fraud. What do you think is so cool about yourself? And you're doing what everybody else is doing. Norman Cousins has this great quote. Honestly, I can't remember who he was talking about when he used this quote, but he was referring to a group of people, and he said that they wear the uniform of nonconformity. And that's exactly what it is. You're trying so hard to be defiant, but you're literally, everyone else is trying to be defiant in the same way that you're being defiant. So none of you are actually defiant. You're actually just sheep. And the funny thing is about those like shoe photos, which I saw recently, it's like, that person got down on the ground and like positioned the shoe in the exact way that they wanted it to be scattered, and positioned the socks to make it look cool. And then you also have to have like a look towards the background and see what's in your background. Is your cat lurking? Ooh, maybe you want your cat to lurk, or maybe it's better that you don't have your cat lurk, because maybe some people won't like that you have a cat and think that you're weird and think that you have no friends. This is the level. This is truly the level. I was in this. I have seen this among my friends. This is the level of scrutiny that people spend their lives on social media. And then when you post it, oh my God, there's the anxiety wave. You finally make your decision to post the picture of the socks and the shoes. You labor over a caption, and then you stare and you're like, oh my God, it's not getting 10 likes in the first minute. I have to delete it. Maybe I should post it at 7 p.m. Why did I post it at 5 p.m.? Oh my God, but if I delete it, then all of those 7 people who liked my photo will see that I posted it. And then there's the whole anxiety spiral. And it's like, okay, that's how you just spent a day of your life. Congratulations. That's why I got off of social media. One reason among many. So yeah, I noticed this weird conformity. I also noticed the really just radicalism that was bred. And obviously that's kind of goes part and parcel with conformity. And specifically during Black Lives Matter, I became so disillusioned with social media, where I saw people who I thought that I really respected, and they were succumbing to these crazy ideas about police and about rioting and looting in the prison reform system. You all remember what that time was like. And it was such kind of a crazy moment for me, because I would look at these people and I would go, wait a minute, I know you in real life. I know that you're a thoughtful, nuanced person. I know that you think it's crazy to defund the police. I know you know that that doesn't work. But then what I realize is that even the best people can fall prey to these social contagions. And now Instagram has become like a form of surveillance. And also like you are obligated as a social media user to make it a whole personal resume about you, not just your brand of what kind of personality you are, but also what kind of political beliefs you have. And you see these people, whenever something happens, they have to make their statement about their feelings on what happens. Even if they don't know anything about what's going on in the world, they have to make their statement lest they, get name called by a mob. And so I looked at that and I couldn't help but wonder, if social media didn't exist and if we had that, same Black Lives Matter summer, would there be as many people who succumbed to those radical ideas? I don't think so. I think that if they were just thinking through these issues on their own, in their own homes, with their own families, and didn't have the pressure and the radicalism of social media, I actually think that more people would be reasonable and would come to their senses on their own.
Julie.
Yeah.
Julie.
Yes.
Because I grew up in an era where I didn't have social media.
Yes.
So if you were to have that thought and wanted to share that thought,
yeah,
you would have had to say it to somebody's face. So there's some aspects here you haven't talked about. You've talked about what it does to you individually, but you haven't talked about the people that look at poop Instagram, the people that like the poop Instagram photos. There's the people that post. There's also the people that observe, and we all do this. We get caught in the rabbit hole of looking at crazy stuff. So there's some advents to society that have been created through social media. Keyboard warriors. People are so much more bold on their keyboard than they would ever be to someone's face. Because in my era, if you grew up and said something like that to someone's face, you were going to get punched. And there was a certain regulation in that kept crazy people at bay. So now the fringe has been amplified, to speak to your larger point on BLM or whatever, COVID or whatever, the social warriors. This is unhealthy for society, because bad ideas, before social media, bad ideas lived in a basement and stayed to themselves. Now crazy people can have a group page and they can meet up and they can share their thoughts, and the fringe gets amplified. And as the fringe gets amplified, we become more polarized, or at least the perception that we're more polarized exists. And it's very hard to remember that the majority of people in this world are good people. Thank God for that, because we fall apart if we lose that.
Or at least more moderate and more reasonable than we are made to believe that they are.
But the
online.
whole news cycle, all social media, you wake up and you think the world's falling apart, when in reality, good people get up and go to work and work hard and do the right thing every day. It's important to remember that.
Yeah, this is so true about how social media gives you a kind of cover. I mean, I've even seen this where I've had people from my past, people who I went to school with, comment on my social media and say horrible, horrible things about me, that I'm evil, I'm mentally ill, I'm a bigot, I'm a racist, the whole spiel that conservatives or people who just dare to think for themselves and have rational thought, what they incur. And I just couldn't help but wonder. I've actually thought about how much I wish I could see these people. I hope that I run into them on the street or in a restaurant. And what I would do is I would go up to them and I would say, I want you to say to my face what you said to me online. I want you to look at me in my eye right now. You knew me You know me. You know what I'm like. You saw me. You went to school with me for years. I want you to look at me in the face and tell me that I'm evil and I'm mentally ill and I'm racist right now. Because these people just feel so emboldened to do it, when their keyboard says they're sitting on the toilet, and they never actually would do it in person. Because when you're in person, when you say stuff, you have to connect with another human being. You have to look at them and you have to stand by what you say. Online, you can hide behind a fake name. You can hide behind a fake photo. You can, even if it's your real name and your real photo, you're not actually interacting with people. You're interacting with them in a fake world, in a fake space. So, yeah, boy, that is so true. Instagram also, to just go on with the litany of all the things that it really has done to us. I'll end with this one before I tell you about my tips and how much it's improved my life. The other thing is that I realized that it was making me escape life instead of deal with it. We've been talking about a lot of the really malignant things that social media can do. It can make you conformist. It can, make you extreme. It can make you a coward. It can make you, hide behind a certain veneer instead of actually being a real life person and having real life relationships and standing by your words. But even if we put that all aside, even if social media had none of those bad parts, it's something that pacifies you. It's almost like taking a Xanax. It's almost like taking edibles. It's almost like having, a few drinks after dinner or watching TV. It's something that you do to run away from what you're feeling. And I still struggle with this because I have a professional social media. Sometimes when I'm really anxious about something, oh my God, what am I going to talk about today on my show? Oh my God, I don't understand this, or I need to be doing this, or I need to book this flight, whatever. I'll just try to pacify myself by scrolling. And as I said, I view everything that I'm doing right now in my life as an investment. And it's really important to me to develop good habits. Because if you do the work now and you develop good habits now, it will pay off later. I always use the analogy. The first time, I know this very well, that you go to the gym and you do squats, it is horrible. You hate it. You wish that you were home. You don't want to do it. You lament your existence. And the next morning you wake up and you feel horrible. And you think, why did I do that? The easier way was better. But then you go back a second time, third time, fourth time. By the 10th time, it's nothing. It's fun. You don't even think about it. And then you're on autopilot. You look better. You feel better. And it's not even something that you consider. That is what happened to me when I got off of social media. It was hard for a time. And there were certain moments when I wished I could have gone back to it and it was easier. But then I started developing the habits, and I'm still trying. I'm still not perfect, but I started developing the habits where instead of trying to find a way to distract myself from my life and pacify myself, I figured out how to deal with those anxieties in other ways that were more healthy than just allowing my brain to waste away. So now let me talk about more of what this did for me. Obviously, I just gave you kind of a clue about the importance of building good habits. That's certainly what it has done. But the biggest thing that getting off of my personal social media has done for me is that it has made me a deeper person. One of the things that I so appreciate when I hear from listeners, and by the way, you can write into me at julie@julie-hartman.com anytime. I love hearing from you. But one of the things that I have read a lot from people who write into me is that they say, wow, Julie, you're so smart. You're so deep. You're so curious. I wish that I had that. Because on this show, as many of you know, I do episodes on a wide variety of subjects. I've done episodes on flags. I've done episodes on the origin and development of language. I did an episode on cool cemeteries and burial practices. I've done episodes on weddings, on funerals. I had a magician on the show. I did an episode on handwriting analysis. I've run the whole gamut of episodes, not just political things, but non-political things. And I've been really, really, really determined to make half of my show militantly non-political, in large part because I think that we've succumbed too much to politics and we've gotten too political as a country. But anyway, when people write into me, they go, wow, I wish that I had your interests. And as much as I appreciate that, it doesn't quite ring true for me, because it makes it seem like I was always the girl who like was interested in these subjects. It makes it seem like I was the type of person who would go to the library and read Dante during recess. Let me tell you, I was not that girl. I actually thought I was dumb for a lot of my life. I never liked to read. I rarely read books. But I am this person now. I love reading. I love learning about different things. And let me tell you, the biggest thing that has helped me become this person is getting rid of my social media, because it forced me to fill my time with other things. When I deleted it a year and a half ago, there were a few weeks when I was like, what do I do with my time? I would find my thumb going back to the place on my phone where my Instagram app was. It's truly an addiction that you have to withdraw from. And I didn't go from that to, picking up Tim Marshall's book, A Flag Worth Dying For. There was a process. I got rid of my social media. I tried to fill my time in other ways. Honestly, I watched a lot of TV. I kind of supplemented it with other technology. But from then, I kind of, weaned myself off of it. I got into books. Maybe I'd read 5 to 10 pages, get bored, get tired, didn't want to finish it. But then, as I said, I built those habits and I saw it as an investment in myself. And I took it one day at a time. And I feel like I entered this new world that is fascinating and that is thrilling. And that now I'm realizing that there is such a wide variety of things that life has to offer you. And so many cool subjects. And that's what I want to do, and I hope I'm doing on this show, is I want to toss them out to you and tell you all of the cool things I've learned and make you aware of them so that you can discover how cool they are. And so, as I said, this week of Dennis and Julie is a particularly good one to watch with regard to this episode, because one of the things that I kept saying over and over and over in that episode was buy into life. Buy in. Some people think, oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, I'm not curious enough. You are. I believe that every single person has a massive amount of potential to be deep and to be interesting and to be intellectual. You are that person. Don't succumb to social media. Don't deaden yourself. Don't scroll. Don't follow the herd. Wean yourself off of it. Invest in yourself. Take baby steps, and you will become the person that you think you're not. Maybe I should end on that. I was going to keep going.
I admire you. And what she hasn't told you, folks, is the pressure that she gets to grow her social media, to do reaction videos.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up.
She would never tell you this. But it's antithetical to who she is. And we've fought this whole time we've been doing your show, at not doing that. And it's hard. And maybe we've paid a price. Maybe our listenership or our viewers or our followers or likes and comments haven't grown as fast as they should. But Jules is playing the long game. And she did the right thing. I'm another person who got off social media. And I'm so glad I did. Because life opens up to you when you're not manufacturing a created reality or persona for people to... That is all hooey. It doesn't matter at the end of the day what you created for people to think that you are. What a waste of time. What an invitation for depression.
That's really what it is.
So you can scroll and take more Xanax? What are you going to do? You can't make yourself... The only way to be the person who you want to be is to become that. And to not try to put on a front.
Yes.
Why are you fronting? Stop it. Just stop it. It's such a waste of who you are as a person. And you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I'm not the smartest person in the room. Julie is not the smartest person in the room, but she's very close. But she's right about that. Life is so interesting, and we have an unprecedented access to information that we never had before. So there are benefits to this, and you can explore just about anything in life, but you have to stop fronting. You can't look. Google has that new camera that allows you to change the facial expression on someone if you don't like the way it looked in the picture.
I know.
But when we were growing up, the best part of the picture was the person that didn't look right. You're creating a reality that doesn't exist.
I know.
All right. I just kudos, my lady. Carry on.
I'm really glad you brought that up. I want to end on this note of, what some would perceive to be my hypocrisy that I have been talking about getting rid of my personal social media account, but I have a professional one. By the way, you can follow me at Julie R. Hartman. Is that terrible? Get off of social media, but by the way, follow me right now. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. And I really want to hear what you have to say. Please comment, please email me. You can DM me even if that's your preferred mechanism, but don't, but do, but don't, but do. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted, man. I got to be honest with you. What am I supposed to do? I have a show, okay? I want to reach as many people as possible. I want to reach as many people to tell people to get off of social media. When you have this job, you have no choice but to engage with this world. But I'll be honest with you, I hate it. I wish I didn't have to do it. People at this company, they don't get mad at me, but they go, "Hey, Julie, you should really post more." I have people outside, in my own life, my friends, my family, people who, wish me well, want the best for me. They pull me aside and they go, "Julie, you can do this, but you gotta, pull up a TikTok and react to it." And I don't want to do that. And as Sean said, perhaps we're paying a price for it. Maybe I'll sell out in a few months and you'll see me, see the thumbnail of me on Instagram. Maybe you'll see that. I don't know. But I just think that it's deadening. And I want to set a good example for people. I want to set an example of how we can elevate ourselves. Because again, I think all of us can. I have an insane amount of faith in the human potential. And I want to be that person who's going, no. We don't have to succumb to this. So what I'm trying to do with my social media is use it in a good way and use it in a way that perhaps it can be if we just tempered ourselves. So hopefully you'll never see me posting about my latte. I don't really think you care what I'm doing when I'm drinking a latte, but whatever I do post, please know that it is always, always, always with the mindset of enriching you and making it useful to you. So follow me at Julie R. Hartman. And on that note, I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for being here. Seriously, though, let me know what you think. Your own personal relationships with social media, what you've observed. I want to continue this conversation because I think it is one of the most important to have, especially among people in my generation. So let me know what you think, as I said. Take care. I'll see you soon.